I paid off their credit cards, fixed their car, canceled my own vacation so they could take one. When I showed up for a surprise visit, I found my clothes in a trash bag outside. My daughter said, "We're moving on, Dad. You're too needy." My son-in-law handed me a train ticket. "Just go." I walked away without a word. But that weekend, I returned with, "I'm not good at talking about myself. I was raised in a time when men worked, didn't complain, and kept family above everything." I've lived in Dayton, Ohio all my life. Worked at the same machine shop for nearly 4 decades. I married young. Had Alicia when I was 25. Lost my wife to ovarian cancer when Alicia was 8. After that, it was just me and her. I did everything I could to make sure she didn't feel the hole her mother left behind. I cooked, I learned how to do her hair, I went to every school event even when I was dead tired from pulling double shifts. I said no to myself a lot so I could say yes to her. If she needed something, I figured it out. When she met Corey, I kept my thoughts to myself. I never liked him. He always acted like he was doing the world a favor just by showing up. Slick talker. Worked here and there but never seemed to hold a job long. Still, Alicia loved him. That was enough for me. I helped them out whenever they needed it. That's what dads do. Over the past few years, I've done a lot for them. They had 2 kids back-to-back, money got tight. I paid off their credit cards, over 11 grand. Corey said he was between jobs at the time. They needed their car fixed, I paid for that too. New tires, new brakes, oil change, the whole thing. When their fridge gave out, I bought them a new one, had it delivered, installed, and hauled away the old one. No questions asked. I started making the 2-hour drive to their house 4 times a week just to help with the kids. It was a lot, but I wanted to be present for my grandkids. I even started learning how to make little crafts and snacks I found on YouTube, just to keep the boys busy. Alicia said it helped a lot. She always said, "Thanks, Dad," and that was enough for me. Last summer, I had a plan. After years of saving, I was finally going to take a real vacation. A road trip out west. Yellowstone, Mount Rushmore, the Tetons. Just me, the road, and my old Canon camera. Then Corey got laid off again. Alicia was overwhelmed. "We just need a break," she said. I canceled my trip, told them to take it instead. Gave them $3,000 for the whole thing. I watched the kids while they posted pictures from a cabin in Asheville. Hot tubs, hikes, wine tastings. I smiled and liked every one of them. Fast forward to a few weeks ago. I hadn't seen the boys in a while. I tried calling, texting. No answers. I figured I'd surprise them. I drove down on a Friday afternoon. Stopped at the grocery store on the way. Bought snacks the kids like, some steaks for the grill, and new shoes for Jackson, their oldest, who I knew had outgrown his. When I pulled into the driveway, something felt off. The curtains were closed. The porch light was on even though it was still daylight. And then I saw it, a black trash bag sitting on the steps. At first, I thought maybe it was garbage they forgot to put out. But as I got closer, I saw a familiar jacket hanging out. My old flannel was stuffed inside, sleeves dangling over the edge. I moved it around. Everything in that bag was mine. Some shirts. A pair of shoes. Even the mug I always used when I visited. The front door opened. Alicia stood there. Arms crossed. No smile. "Dad," she said flatly, "we've talked about this. You can't just show up. We're moving on." I blinked. "What are you talking about?" You're too needy," she said. I just stared at her. My chest felt tight. My ears started ringing. Needy? I hadn't asked them for a single thing. Then Corey stepped out behind her. He was holding a folded-up piece of paper. "Here," he said, shoving it at me. "It's a train ticket. It'll take you back to Dayton." I opened it. It was for that same day. They had planned this. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I wanted to ask why. I wanted to say, "After everything?" But I didn't. I just nodded. I picked up the trash bag, walked to my truck, and drove off. I cried the whole way home. I didn't even know I still could. That weekend, I didn't leave my house. I sat in silence. My phone stayed quiet. No texts, no calls, not even from the boys. On Sunday night, I made a decision. If they wanted to act like I was disposable, they were going to find out what I've really been doing all this time. I'm not a fool. I'm not just some old man with a generous heart. I kept records. I kept receipts. I saw things. Things they didn't know I knew. And the next weekend I went back. Not with groceries this time. With proof. And a plan. I didn't sleep much that week. I kept going over everything in my head. The way Alicia looked at me like I was a burden. The way Corey just stood there, smug, holding that damn train ticket like he was doing me a favor. I couldn't stop thinking about how quickly they tossed me aside. But while I was sitting at home, going through all the years I helped them, I remembered something. I had access to things. Details. Records. Because when you pay for everything, when bills are in your name, when you co-sign for loans, you start getting paperwork. So I went digging. I pulled out the drawer in my little desk where I keep folders. There it was, a thick stack of documents with their names on it. The car? Registered in my name. Insurance under my account. The fridge? Bought on a card I opened for them, still technically under my credit. The house? They were struggling when they applied for the mortgage, so I signed on as a silent cosigner. The bank wouldn't have approved it otherwise. I remembered Corey saying, "It's just a formality. You'll never be responsible for anything." Idiot. I sat there for hours going through it all. Then I found something else. Something I forgot. 2 years ago, Corey asked me to help him set up a joint checking account. Said it was for a new business. I added $6,000 to help him get started. He never opened the business. I assumed it flopped. Turns out he used it to pay off sports betting losses. I logged in. The account was still under my name even though I hadn't touched it since. I saw multiple transfers labeled FanDuel, DraftKings, and Casino Deposit. Over $9,000 gone in a year and a half. That's when I stopped feeling hurt and started feeling angry. So I got to work. I printed everything. Highlighted key sections. I called the bank. Called the insurance company. Checked in with a friend of mine from back in the shop days. Now he works with a real estate lawyer. I asked questions. Got clear answers. That Saturday I drove back to Alicia and Corey's house. Not with groceries. Not with toys. With a briefcase full of every piece of paper I needed. I didn't go up to the house. I parked across the street and waited. Around noon they left with the kids. Corey was wearing a designer hoodie. Alicia had new sunglasses. I watched them load into the Honda. The one I paid to fix and drive off. I walked right up to the front door and rang the bell anyway, just to be sure. No answer. I still had the spare key. They never asked for it back. I let myself in. Inside, everything looked new. There was a flat-screen TV on the wall that wasn't there last year. A wine fridge in the dining room. A new PlayStation on the coffee table. I sat down at their kitchen table, pulled out my paperwork, and took pictures of every single luxury item I could find. Then I left a stack of documents in a folder with a sticky note on top. Let's talk. And I left. They didn't call right away. It took 3 days. Alicia called first. "Dad, why were you in our house?" I stayed quiet. "You left a bunch of papers here. What is this?" "You read them." I asked. There was a pause. "Corey's handling it." I laughed. "Good luck with that." I hung up. The next day, Corey texted me. "You're being petty and dramatic. You're not taking the house from your own daughter." I didn't answer. I just sent back a photo of the mortgage agreement, his credit report, and the account with the missing funds. 2 days later, I filed the first action. Removed myself from every joint account. Froze the co-owned bank card. Canceled the car insurance since it was under my name. I called the mortgage lender and told them I was pulling my financial support. That meant their loan would get reevaluated. And with Corey's gambling and no steady job history, they weren't going to like that. They came to my house that weekend. Not with apologies. With threats. "You're seriously trying to ruin us?" Corey shouted. "After everything we've done for you?" I didn't invite them in. I stood in the doorway. Looked him dead in the eye. "You mean after everything I've done for you?" Alicia looked tired. She didn't say a word at first. Then she whispered, "Why are you doing this?" I stepped aside and pointed to a table inside where the photos were spread out. "All I ever did was help. All I ever asked was to be treated with respect. You kicked me out like I was trash. This is me saying you don't get to do that without consequences." Corey tried to push past me. I didn't let him. "You want to fix this?" I said. "Get your act together. Pay me back. Or get out of that house before the bank does it for you." They left. Not before Alicia turned around and looked at me with wet eyes. "You were supposed to be family." I nodded. I was. And I closed the door. After that day, I thought maybe I'd finally gotten through to them. Maybe the fear of losing the house, the money, the comfort they were so used to would shake something loose. But it didn't. A week later, I got a letter in the mail. From a lawyer. Apparently, Corey and Alicia were trying to file a restraining order against me. Said I was harassing them and endangering their kids. I almost laughed. I'd never once raised my voice around those boys. Never laid a hand on anyone. I took the letter straight to my own lawyer, the one my friend helped me connect with. He took one look at the paperwork and said, "This is sloppy. It won't go through. But it does tell me something. They're scared. They should have been." While I was sitting in meetings and filing forms, my lawyer found something bigger. A second property Corey had recently tried to purchase using my co-signature. He'd forged it. Plain as day. He'd scanned my signature from an old check and slapped it on a digital form. That's when things changed. What had started as betrayal turned into criminal activity. I filed a police report. Took everything we had, the bank records, the forged forms, emails showing Corey had access to my financial information without consent. Even found a message where he joked to a friend, "The old man's money is good for something." It made me sick. Within a few days, detectives were in contact. Fraud. Forgery. Identity theft. Suddenly, this wasn't just a family dispute. It was an open investigation. That same week, I got a phone call from someone I didn't recognize. "Is this Raymond Carter?" the voice asked. "Yes. This is Angela. I work at Maple Grove Elementary. I hope you don't mind me calling. Your number was still listed as an emergency contact for Jackson." My stomach turned. "Is something wrong?" She sighed. "I probably shouldn't say much, but there's been some neglect concerns. He's been showing up hungry, tired, wearing shoes that are 2 sizes too small. He said he misses you." I had to sit down. While Corey was out gambling and Alicia was trying to sue me, my grandson, the same one I bought shoes for just weeks ago, was showing up to school looking like no one gave a damn. I asked Angela to keep me updated quietly. She agreed. Said a few other teachers had started documenting things. Said Jackson mentioned that Grandpa used to bring us food. So I called CPS. I told them everything I knew. They said there was already an open file. I gave them permission to contact me if needed. That's when I knew. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about saving my grandkids. I started going through old photos, texts, anything that showed I had a long-standing role in their lives. I printed out pictures of birthdays I planned, medical appointments I'd taken them to, school pickups and daycare drop-offs. I built a case, not to get custody, not yet, but to prove I had been there and that they needed someone who gave a damn. Corey and Alicia must have found out, because the next time I saw them, it wasn't in court. It was in the parking lot of the elementary school. Corey walked right up to me, angry, face red, fists clenched. "You think you can take my kids?" he said. I didn't flinch. "I'm not trying to take them. I'm trying to protect them from you." Alicia was behind him, holding her phone, recording. "You're making this worse," she said. "We can fix this if you stop pushing." I looked at her for a long time. My daughter, the girl I raised. And for the first time, I didn't see my little girl. I saw a stranger who'd let her kids fall through the cracks. I spoke slowly. "I'll stop pushing when you start parenting." They left without another word. 3 days later, I got a call from CPS. They were coming to do a home visit at Corey and Alicia's place. I don't know what triggered it, maybe the school, maybe the call I made. Maybe both. But it was happening. And I was ready. Because I knew exactly what they'd find behind that clean porch, behind that staged smile, behind those social media posts that made it look like everything was perfect. They'd find the truth. And soon everyone else would too. 2 weeks later, everything fell apart for them. The CPS visit didn't go how Alicia and Corey thought it would. They cleaned up the house, sure. Probably coached the boys on what to say. But you can't fake structure, routine, and basic parenting. And you can't fake a fridge that's empty except for leftover fast food. I got the full report later. Jackson told the social worker he eats cereal with water, that his mom sleeps a lot during the day and yells when he makes noise. The younger one, Eli, still in pull-ups, hadn't seen a pediatrician in over a year. The house was messy. No baby gates. No cabinet locks. No cleaning supplies out of reach. The worker noted neglect risk, inconsistent care, and prior family support who has now been removed. That was me. I was the support they'd thrown away. A week after the visit, CPS contacted me and asked if I'd be willing to take the boys short-term while they reviewed the case. I didn't hesitate. I picked them up on a rainy Thursday evening. Alicia didn't say much. Corey stayed inside. Neither one even looked the boys in the eye. They just handed over a garbage bag with a few clothes and a tablet that didn't even charge. I brought them home, gave them a bath, cooked spaghetti, let them fall asleep on the couch watching cartoons. For the first time in weeks, Jackson didn't have to be the adult in the room. Meanwhile, the other storm was hitting them fast. The bank flagged Corey's attempted property purchase as fraud after my police report. The forged signature? That's a felony. The officer I spoke to called it the dumbest paper trail he's ever seen. It wasn't even subtle. Corey got arrested. Fraud and identity theft. They found out he'd also opened 2 credit cards under my name. Racked up $4,200 across both. I got a letter from the prosecutor a few days after his arraignment. If convicted, Corey could face up to 4 years. But what got me most was the court order freezing all his assets. Joint accounts, vehicles, everything under review. Which meant Alicia was stuck. No money, no car since I had canceled the insurance and the title was in my name. No job, she hadn't worked in over a year. I didn't gloat. I didn't dance around like I'd won. But I didn't help them either. The house? They missed 2 mortgage payments. Without my credit to hold up the loan, the bank reevaluated and sent them a default notice. Foreclosure began within weeks. They called me. Begged. Dad, please, just co-sign again. Just one more time. We can fix this. I didn't even respond. I blocked the number. Changed mine the next day. The boys stayed with me full-time. CPS kept checking in, but everything was fine. The school even wrote a letter saying they'd improved, better mood, more alert, stable behavior. Jackson made a friend for the first time in over a year. The final court hearing for Corey's case was 5 months later. I sat in the back of the courtroom, silent. Alicia walked in, looking worn and bitter. She barely glanced my way. Corey stood next to his lawyer in a wrinkled suit that didn't fit. His charges were read out loud. Fraud, forgery, theft, violation of fiduciary trust. His lawyer tried to get him probation. Said he had a supportive wife and 2 kids who needed him. The judge wasn't moved. You used your children's grandfather like a personal ATM. You showed no remorse until you got caught. You lied. You stole. And worst of all, you gambled away a future that someone else built for you. Corey got 18 months in state prison. No parole for the first 12. Alicia cried. Not for what they'd done, but for what she'd lost. After the sentencing, she tried to talk to me. Stopped me outside the courthouse. Dad, I made mistakes. I see that now. Can we just go back to how it was? I looked at her for a long time. I would have given you everything. I did give you everything. And you gave me a trash bag and a train ticket. She swallowed hard. So that's it? No, I said. That's not it. I handed her an envelope. Inside was a full list of everything I had paid for over the last 10 years. The car. The credit cards. The house. Vacations. Food. Kids' clothes. Repairs. And at the bottom? A bill. $134,910.38 marked, paid in full through pain, years, and silence. Never again. She looked up at me. Face pale. Eyes red. I turned and walked away. I didn't do it to be cruel. I did it to finally let it end. To make peace with the truth. You can give someone your whole heart, your whole life, and they'll still toss you out like nothing if they don't know what it cost. But the boys? They're safe now. And when Jackson calls me Dad by accident, I don't correct him, because in all the ways that matter, I am.